Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. We appreciate your joining us in this House, and we thank you for the comprehensive responses to questions. You may feel free to remain with us. You may feel free to remain with us, Honourable Minister, and enjoy the ambience of the NCOP, or else you can take leave whenever you feel it necessary. We now move on to the next set of questions, and I call upon the Honourable Minister for Sports, Arts and Culture, Honourable Mackenzie. The first question came from the Honourable Finnis, and the Honourable Minister will respond to that. Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Sorry. Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much for the question. The construction, refurbishment, rehabilitation and maintenance of sports and recreation facilities in terms of Schedule 5B of the Constitution is the constitutional responsibility of local government through the Municipal Infrastructure Grant, MIC, and for metros, the metropolitan municipalities through the Urban Settlement Development Grant, the USDG. However, annually since 2016, the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture recommended funding to municipalities which are the custodians of sport facilities, from ring-fence MIG upgrading, refurbishment and construction in line with requests submitted by municipalities based on their needs. Beyond this, what I can tell you is that I personally have committed to the construction of as many as 100 multi-purpose courts per financial year at various schools, starting last week already throughout the country, which varies from basketball, netball, soccer, volleyball, tennis, and more. And Your Excellency, I must tell you, we've also begun with the repair of pools, including one that was opened last week in Gqeberha, after being derelict for 10 years. We're also rolling out numerous outdoor gyms throughout the country. My department is also considering the restoration of numerous community centers that have the potential for sporting and arts infrastructure in models of public-private partnerships and partnerships with other government departments. But I must also mention this. It has happened in the past where money that was meant for the upgrading of facilities through MIC has been used by municipalities for other reasons. And we have now come up with something new, that before we're speaking to Treasury, that before we give you the new allocations, we want to make sure that the previous allocations has not been used by the municipalities to pay salaries, because our sporting centers is in disarray. It is a mess. And the only reason why it's a mess is not that government hasn't given the money. It is the money has been repurposed and redirected. So the municipalities has a lot to answer, including the metros. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Good afternoon, honourable members, ladies and gentlemen. Let's now give opportunity back to Honourable Finnis for a supplementary question. Honourable Finnis.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Honourable Minister, for the response to my question. As indicated by your response, that sport infrastructure and facilities is the responsibility of municipalities. Is there a dereliction of duty from the municipalities? If yes, what has the department done to assist in addressing this problem?
Thank you very much. I think everybody in this house knows that there is a dereliction of duties. Because you just look at our sporting facilities. What has happened to them? It is non-existent. We must be honest about the fact that everywhere, from the Western Cape to Gauteng, there's no province that can say all the sporting facilities is 100%. That is the only action I, as the minister, can take, is to make sure before we pay the next tranche of money, to ask the municipalities show us what you did with the previous one, and then ask Treasury that we must personally do that. I can tell you, Honorable Finis, that, you know, it's very easy to blame government and say, this government is not looking after the government has made money available, hundreds and millions every year. But the money is being redirected to pay salaries. The money is being redirected to make up for things that has not been budgeted for. But I can assure you, that is coming to an end, because I'm not going to come here next year and answer questions, the same question that I accuse people of. That's now if I don't get reshuffled before that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honourable members, taking the process forward, the next follow-up supplementary question on question number 93 will come from the Honourable Gotzel.
Good afternoon, Minister. I see you've just dived straight into my question, which is great. And you must have picked up on, for instance, certain ANC governments' failures, like in Enoch and Kajima, where 15 million rand was spent on a football field or a football stadium, but actually that is just a barren piece of land. So with your new plan, what concrete measures are in place to address corruption and to then ensure that there is accountability where you pick this up and before you make available this MIC grant, so that disadvantaged communities can actually benefit?
Thank you very much, Honorable. You know, I don't have the power to just willy-nilly keep the money back. I have to go through Treasury to ask permission to withhold the money, because I'm the conduit of the money from Treasury. We are asking for that permission currently, and the only reason why we're asking for that permission is to make sure that this doesn't happen. But it's true what you're saying about Enoch Ngijima, what happened there. But it's not only there, even pools in the Western Cape has not been opened and money has been made available. So this thing goes through party lines. It is not only an ANC problem. It's a problem of everybody that is in government.
Thank you very much, Minister. The next supplementary question comes from Mr. Ngobo, who is online. Mr. Ngobo.
Thank you, Chair. Greetings to honorable members. Honorable Minister, why has the department not established a dedicated, transparent budget specifically for grassroots sports infrastructure? And how are budget allocations tracked to ensure fairness in rural and previously disadvantaged communities? Thank you.
Minister, were you able to hear that?
I was not able to hear
Okay,
that.
Mr. Ngobo, your line is quite bad. If I can ask you to try again, pose your question, but if you can speak close to the microphone and fairly slowly for us, please.
Okay, I said, Honorable Minister, why has the department not established a dedicated, transparent budget specifically to grassroots sports infrastructure? And how are budget allocations tracked to ensure fairness in rural and previously disadvantaged communities? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Minister, I think that was a bit clearer. Can you respond, please?
Yes, I can respond. It is true, Honorable Ngobo, that, thank you for your question first, that rural areas has really been neglected. Rural areas has not been given the adequate facilities that they should have been given. I will concede to that one. Grassroots, like all sports in South Africa, except in the private schools, sports in government schools has really been non-existent. And what we have done this time, because I'm very passionate about it, we've made sure that our budget speaks to the rural areas. To show you, the first combi court we have launched last week was in the Eastern Cape. in an area where the people were so happy to see us that they never thought we will come there. So that's only the beginning. We are going to, next week I will be in the Eastern Cape and Ikala. In the Eastern Cape, I will be in the KZN also to open sporting facilities. We are going to make sure that grassroots support, grassroots sports in rural people get, because frankly speaking, there's nothing in most of the rural areas that keep the children entertained. And that is and thank you for your question, Arun, because that for me is number one on our list.
Thank you, Minister. The next supplementary will come from the Honourable Sawisa.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Minister. Minister, many learners, especially those in previously disadvantaged areas, are only exposed and limited to certain sporting codes like soccer and netball. The ones that are lucky can also be exposed to volleyball. One finds that for poor Black learners, there are no other facilities for sports like volleyball, hockey, swimming, even cricket. What steps of intervention have you taken since coming into office to introduce these sporting codes, especially in previously disadvantaged areas, and further provide for the infrastructure, and which timeframes have been put in place in this regard? Thank you.
Sorry, members online, please, if I can ask you to make sure that you are muted. We are getting a disturbance from the online platform. Minister, please, if you can respond.
What you said, Honourable Member, is nothing but the truth. You know, kids in private schools, through no fault of them, is exposed to multiple sporting codes. Every Black person in this room has never had pole vaulting at his school. Never had pole vaulting at his school. And this is just one example I'm trying to make, that a hockey stick is very important. You don't get those sporting codes in the disadvantaged schools. For the first time, we have stopped all purchasing of the usual normal ball and cricket ball that they always buy for the kids, for the schools. We have now made a list of things that are not available in the disadvantaged schools. For the first time this year, will schools receive equipment that they've never had in the schools? Because what you said is 100% correct, and that's why there was a 700 million rand budget to go and buy the same things they've done for 30 years. We stopped that, and we said we want to expose kids to all types of sports. It was not every kid, and I want to make an example of the truth of the question. Cricket, you get very good Black cricketers, but they are bowlers. You don't get batsmen. That's good. One maybe. The reason for that is because to get a ball is very cheap, but to get the full regalia, the helmet, the guards, everything is very expensive. So what we've decided as a department is that this is the first year where we even changed the whole standard order of balls and nets. We are getting stuff that schools has never been exposed to. Thank you, Honourable.
Thank you very much, Minister, for that reply. Honourable members, we now move on to question 78. Question 78 was asked by the Honourable Aris, and it asks about converting abandoned and dilapidated buildings. Can we hear your reply to that question, please, Minister?
Yeah, thank you so much, Chairperson. Honourable Aris, yes, my department is making interventions to convert abandoned and dilapidated buildings, one such being the conversion of the old abandoned St. Anne's Hospital, located in Pietermaritzburg, in the new KwaZulu-Natal Museum. We're changing that old building into a new KwaZulu-Natal Museum. In addition to the above, the department is mandated by the 2019 revised white paper on sport, arts and culture to create spaces for provincial art practitioners in 3 previously marginalized provinces: Limpopo, Northwest, and Mpumalanga. To date, the department has implemented the white paper recommendations as follows. Limpopo Province, we've done the Limpopo Theatre. A newly constructed theatre is being built through co-funding initiative with the Limpopo Province. It is currently at 80% in terms of construction progress in Bakoni, Malapa, in Polokwane municipality. DSEC has committed an amount of 45 million over a period of 3 years. To date, 17 million has been transferred to Limpopo Department of Sport, Arts and Recreation. Northwest, Mabana Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation Center. Northwest Department of Sport, Arts and Culture identified Mabana Sports Arts Center facility for refurbishment as a provincial theatre for arts practitioners. An amount of 13 million over a period of 3 years has been committed. To date, an amount of close to 4 million has been transferred to the provincial department. Mpumalanga, Secunda Theatre. Mpumalanga Department of Sport, Arts and Culture identified Secunda Theatre facility for refurbishment as a provincial theatre for arts. An amount of 13 million over a period of 3 years has been committed. To date, no amount of funding has been transferred to the provincial department due to incomplete consultation between the two stakeholders, MP DSEC and Governor Mbeki local municipality. In the case of community art development facilities, the DSEC has relied on provinces to propose derelict buildings as well as existing, which they deem fit for purposes of cultural activities. To this end, there are numbers of examples that can be cited. Eastern Cape, Port St. John's Arts Centre, an amount of 1 million was transferred to East London Guild Theatre as the implementing agent. The project has been completed. It was inspected by DSEC in February 2025. Paddy Arts Centre, East London. Stegspruit Arts Centre, East London. Titicama Arts Centre in East London. Western Cape, Darlington Cultural Hub. An amount of 1 million was transferred to Stan Foundation as the implementing agent. The project has been completed. It was inspected by DSEC in November 2025. Northwest again, Bakwena Arts Centre. An amount of 750,000 was transferred to the Northwest Federation of Community Arts Centers as the implementing agent. The project has been completed. So yeah, indeed, Chairperson, we are looking at that and we are now going to the second phase, because what we also want to do is community halls. Community halls are standing empty. People use them once or twice a month. It is there, it's got security. We are now running a project where we want to turn that into theater centers where children can train, where children can sing, they can dance, because at no cost. Because it's just standing there and it was built with a huge amount of monies. And every area basically, or most areas, has community centers. We don't want it, it is 5% utilized. We want to take it up to 80-90% utilization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honourable Aris, do you have a follow-up question?
Yes, thank you very much, Chairperson. Minister, I listened to your response and I'm grateful that you mentioned all the provinces, you know, where you have tried to make these cultural centers, but noticing that there existed several abandoned buildings across the country that could be acquired by the art and creative sector so that they can transform into exciting new venues of cultural space. And further noting that converting abandoned buildings has the potential to increase community redevelopment and attract artists. Why has there been no collaborative effort across all provinces to turn these forgotten spaces into opportunities for redevelopment? And which efforts have you made to secure more funding for the cultural space? And because it always gets the smallest amount on the budget, and we have seen that in your budget allocation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Back to you, Minister.
I agree with Honourable when she says that there's a lot of buildings around the country that needs our attention and that we can convert into that. But I disagree with her when she says that more money, culture doesn't get most of the money. Culture, the cultural space get 1.7 billion compared to the sporting, which get less than that. More of our budget goes for culture than for sport. And if you say, what have I done to raise money for that? I'll make you one example. The National School of the Arts does not fall under me, but it was about to close and 500 kids was about to be sent home. I personally jumped in my car and I went to the school to go and understand what is the problem here. I realized that they have zero money. I then said, let me get all ex-policemen that died in service and soldiers. All the children can come and study here for free and the department will pay. And we will pay the money tomorrow so that the school cannot close down and the school can take the children. That project has kept that school open. We've raised close to 2.5 million rands for the school. The school is now open. 600 children are going to school. So it's not that we've done nothing. We have done something when it comes to that.
Thank you very much, Minister. Let's now pass the opportunity to Honorable Mokwele.
Thanks very much, House Chair, and thanks very much, Minister, for being in this house. You know that you are always be here. Minister, I want to agree with you when you are saying that indeed, before you allow or before you give a certain portion to the municipality or district, you must just first to check that what happened with the previous allocation. Because during our provincial weeks, we have seen a very mess, in majority of municipality, where we found that majority of structure that are abandoned, some that are not even completed, the service provider just went there. But Minister, when you were answering the initial question, you also managed to answer my follow-up question. But the only question that I want to check, with you, Minister, is that is your department have the program to convert this building? And then if yes, what are the details of this program, Minister? That is my own question, but generally, you managed to answer my follow-up question. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, our department, most of the buildings is not owned by the department. It's owned by Public Works. So what we are doing at the moment, we are doing an audit on which buildings are owned by the department, where we can have a say. Once we have the list, which I don't have at the present moment, but once I acquire that list, we are going to do the same that we're doing with Mabana Cultural Center, that we're doing with the Darlington Hub, the ones I've previously mentioned. We will not reinvent the wheel. We will just follow that same system to transform those into workable institutions or where art can be practiced.
Thank you very much, Minister. Let's now hear from Honorable Gotzel.
Minister. Minister, it's interesting that Ms. Aris from the EFF would suggest converting old buildings and museums when her party has been at the forefront of vandalizing history and historic buildings. If we look, as an example, at how the ANC, EFF, and PA Coalition of Corruption in Johannesburg has neglected the Johannesburg Library and the Johannesburg Art Gallery, what guarantees can your department make or give us that it will make good investments with taxpayers' money to convert abandoned or dilapidated buildings into cultural hubs or museums and to protect it from EFF vandalism?
Thank you,
Order, please, Chairperson.
Order, members online, please.
I've heard the question. You know, pardon? I've heard the question.
Chair, sorry.
Okay.
Honorable Aris was raising a point of order online.
Beg your pardon, Honorable Aris. Would you take a seat, please,
Yes,
Minister?
thank you very
Honorable
much,
Aris, can we hear your point of order?
Chairperson, I think the previous speaker is out of order to make accusations like that, to say that it's the EFF that has vandalized.
That's not a point of order, Honorable Aris. Thank you very much. Let's give the Minister a chance to respond. Thank you, Minister.
To the House. May I just remind the honorable member that Mpopalati was the mayor in Jo'burg. Before Mpopalati, Mashaba was the mayor in Jo'burg. Yeah. Now, when you say PA, you guys have been mayors for 6 years in Tshwane. There's a 6 billion rent missing, according to the Auditor General. So now, you come here, the Good Hope Center is now being sold here in the Western Cape, while there's no theater that is state-owned. So let us not throw stones if we live in a glass house, because Gauteng, Jo'burg, has been messed up by the Democratic Alliance. Tshwane has been messed up by the Democratic Alliance. We are fixing stuff now. Be patient. We've given you 6 years to mess it up. Give us 3 years to fix it for you. We are getting there.
Thank you, Minister.
No, but you have no evidence that the EFF has demolished a building. Can you mention one that was done by the EFF?
Thank you very much.
I'm not defensive. I don't like a person to tell lies about people. If you say the EFF has demolished a building, tell me which building and which members of the EFF. Wearing red doesn't mean you are EFF member. Maybe you saw people with red.
I can sign you up, Minister.
What undertaking? No, I didn't make the question. You made an allegation. You didn't ask a question. Yours was an allegation. So I was dealing with your allegation. You said that we have messed up Jo'burg. So I'm telling you, you are the one that messed up Jo'burg.
Honourable
No,
member,
let's
sorry.
take examples
Honourable
of-
Godsall, this is not a dialogue, please.
Let the truth be spoken.
Are you done, Minister?
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay,
Honourable.
thank you very much.
Sure.
Honourable members, not a dialogue, please. You get your chance to ask a question and then you continue. Agbare lede, dis nou die dag vir my gesê dat ek praat glad nie genoeg Afrikaans as ek hier voorsit nie. En ek weet as ek nou met die minister in die volgende vraag sit, kan ek nou gerus 'n bietjie Afrikaans praat. Dis nou my geleentheid. So ek nooi nou vir die agbare breed om haar vraag te vra.
Voorsitter, ek is baie jammer, maar daar moes 'n boodskap na u toe gegaan het. Die agbare van den Berg sal die vraag neem.
Ja, baie dankie voorsitter. Maar ek het nou beplan om die vraag in Engels te vra, so ek sal nou maar so maak. So, Minister, we spoke of repurposing old and dilapidated sports facilities. We have even thought of repairing them, but judged by the rate that a building can get demolished by some citizens looking for steel to salvage, have you considered, Minister, demolition as an Olympic sport? And if not, no, on a serious note, have you considered handing over these and repurposing these areas to the agricultural sector, for instance, for the use of agricultural parks and community food gardens? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable, for that question. No, I've not considered to give it over to the agricultural. It's such a good idea. I just heard about it now for the first time. It's really something that we would look at. But I also must say that there's this allegation that communities can't look after. It's such a wide allegation in South Africa. The communities don't look after the centers. It's not. We must be honest about the fact that the communities pay tax and the tax gets security and the security must look after the building. You can put any community, whether it's in Clifton or it's in Menenberg, there's always drug addicts living in that community looking for their next fix. So they will always steal from those buildings. I think where we fail as government, it is when it comes to security, securing the stadiums, securing the buildings. So I think what we have spoken about in our department is that we need to have proper security guards guarding this, and we need to have fines for the security companies to say if a pipe is missing or a window is broke, we must deduct it from the money paid to the security company. But I will really look at the agricultural thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Minister, we now come to question number 80. Question number 80 was asked by the Honourable Adriansa and relates to funding for cultural institutions. Can we hear your reply, please, Minister?
Thank you so much for this question, Honourable Adriansa. My department has mandated newly appointed Board of Directors for cultural institutions to plan and lead funding initiatives for growth and sustainability of all departmental agencies. The department also provided funding support for the refurbishment of centers in Northwest, as I've mentioned previously. So what we have come to realize is that there is no proper working relationship when it comes to culture and business, while there's a better relationship between sport and business. So what we are doing now, Honourable Adriansa, we are trying to get, starting with next week, with companies like RMB. We are speaking to different companies like Betway for them to get involved also not only in sport, but also in culture, because there was a disconnect with that. But also, we are consulting various private and public entities in soliciting strategic partnerships. Cultural institutions are directed to apply to the International Fund for Cultural Diversity, which is available through UNESCO. So all those funds has been there, but it has not been properly advertised to the people that you can access funding through the different channels and the different models that has been created. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Honourable Adriansa, back to you for a follow-up question, please.
Thank you, Honourable House Chair, Honourable Minister. Thank you for the response. I want to come specifically to certain policies, especially in the engagements with these entities. Have you adapted and can you point to specific policies to support these smaller institutions that they don't be left behind in the fight for cultural preservation across all provinces? Because these aren't luxuries. They're investments in our shared past and future. We expect more than words. We expect clear, bold action for cultural equity. How will you meet this challenge? We heard you on the collaboration, but how will you meet this challenge as well? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. You know, it's not just words, Honourable Adriansa. We have the MGE, which is now, it's an open call in Mzansi Golden Economy, where these small cultural businesses can access funding. We have also a touring fund, where people that get invited to go and apply their trade overseas or in other African countries can apply. In fact, what happened in the department, the call for money was closed last month. But when I saw that 700 applicants read the rules wrong, and I went to go read the rules, and the barriers to end, it was so difficult that it's very easy to get it wrong. I then instructed the department to reopen it, and to say that the rural kids don't have access sometimes to technology. I then said the department must now go on a tour in all provinces to go and tell people to come and physically also bring applications for money. Because in the past, the money was only centralized, majority in Gauteng, but in Western Cape. And the other areas couldn't access the money, but now we've changed that to say, leave the technology. It's not only the technology. My staff in the department is now going through all the provinces, and they're going to make a call, and people can physically bring their projects to the set place so that they can also access funding. So we have those things to say that in our department, you have instances where you have very good, talented people. We have now started to say, regroup, get lawyers. We're even making our lawyers available in the department because sometimes people get exploited with talent. So we are very, serious about people accessing funding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Honourable members, now let's recognise Honourable Kaunda for a supplementary question.
Thank you, House Chair. Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, for your good responses, especially to those who are anti-transformation. You did it adequately. My question, Honourable Minister, what are the results of the consultations with private institutions to create strategic partnerships? And does the department have any timelines for the reconstruction of Mabana Arts Culture and Foundation? Thank you.
Okay. You know, Honourable, thank you so much for the question. What I've come to learn, I always complained about the fact that corporate South Africa is not supporting sports and arts. That has always been my complaint during the time I was campaigning. But I subsequently found that our federations and our cultural institutions get money and they don't report back what they did with the money. That's then corporate companies can't give them the second chance. I can make you numerous examples, including in the sporting fraternity, where people have received money. Like I'll make you an example with swimming. Swimming got, I think, 18 million rands from the lotto. They're asking for 20 million rands now. But I said before, let me drive down to Franschhoek to go and see what this 18 million has done. You have organizations in the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. They've been getting money. Organizations like CIFSA. They've been getting millions. But when I ask, can I get the report back? What did they do with the money? It's not, there's no report back. So it's unfair of us to blame business. And I must publicly apologize because I was the one that accused business. We are now fixing, in fact, in 2 weeks, the first week in April, I'm meeting all the sporting federations. And then the week thereafter, I'm meeting the cultural institutions, including the one you've mentioned. Because I want to understand from them, what are you guys doing to raise money? Government is not your cash cow alone. Some of them are just there in the federations to receive this money and to fly around the country. But there's nothing they do for the artist. There's nothing they do for the creatives in this country. So I can assure you my next invite here, I will come with actuals of the action that we've taken against those people that have received millions. There's people, you will be shocked, Honourable Kaunda, if I tell you about monies that has been paid to people, and you ask the person, you tell me, why did you pay this person? He'll say, I don't know. I found this person being paid, so I just continue paying this person. Those things are there, and we are investigating all of those things. That's why you'll see a lot of complaints now coming from the usual suspects that has been getting stuff there without proper paperwork, and a real artist. I mean, you have artists, they don't even make music anymore, some of them. They are no longer making music, they are now just mining the department. And those are the things that we have to address. And I have to come here and come and tell the Honourable August House NCOP what has happened there and what action did we take. Thank you very much, Honourable Kaunda.
Thanks, Minister. Let's go back online now and get the next supplementary question from Honourable Aris, who we're going to remind to please talk slowly and close to the microphone. Honourable Aris.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chairperson. Minister, South Africa has a vibrant art and culture and heritage sector. However, the creative and cultural industries are struggling and facing several challenges, such as a lack of vibrant markets and a lack of access to finance. Whether the steps mentioned also include securing funding for programs which will pass indigenous cultural knowledge to the next generation. If so, please provide details in this regard, because I know that the Older Persons Amendment Bill also try to, also address this issue of the passing of knowledge to the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Aris. Back to you, Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Aris. Let me show you what you were saying, Honorable Aris. That's so true. That our artists are poor. They can't, most of them can't even afford to bury themselves. We are always asked to bury them. I then took a deep dive with my team into the reasons. Why is it that artists in South Africa are so poor? Why is it that particularly black artists, what are the reasons black artists can't afford themselves? And we learn from the white artists. Why is it the white artists can afford to bury themselves? We found out numerous lessons from that. That firstly, the white artists don't price themselves out of the market. You can get a white artist at a price that you paid for 3 months ago, but when sometimes, and not all of them, but every time you get a black artist, his price has gone up. And there's no structure when it comes to pricing. So we found that some of them price themselves out of the market. That's the first thing we found. The second thing we learned from the white artists is that they create a lot of work for white artists. So they can budget on the St. Oosterfees, the Klein Karoo fees. They got different festivals which they can budget. I'm going to play there, I'm going to play there. While our black artists, they don't know where their next gig is going to come from. Hence, they ask for a lot of money sometimes because they don't know will they even be booked again this year. So we took a deep dive to say, how can we sort out this problem? And now I'm coming to your question. What we've done, we called all of them. We called them, we addressed them, and we said, things are changing now. If you do writing, one side. If you do jazz, one side. If you do choir music, if you do mpatanga, if all the different genres, there were 17 sectors which we've done. We are now providing them with offices, of money for offices. We're providing them with money for legal fees. We are getting them structured because it's very easy to exploit them if they are divided. So for the first time in South Africa, Honorable Aris, when we, in my budget speech, mention all different 17 sectors, which shall be recognized by this department, which shall represent, like for instance, the guys that doing Mbakanga. They have people representing them. The people that's doing creative dancing, they have people representing them. And the department is giving money to those sectors to make sure there's officers. They must have phones. They must be organized, because it's very easy to exploit someone that is not organized. Somebody don't know how to do an invoice. And those are the things that is happening. But for now, for the first time in South Africa, every sector will have a sector representation, including, we've spoken to ambassadors around to say, when you want to book a jazz artist, go through this channel. Even us with the G20 coming, we're going to go through that channel. And this is our way of making sure artists don't get overlooked. Artists don't get overlooked. And I'll make an example with one artist from KwaZulu-Natal, my yogurt. He's a young man that told me, no, he never get booked. I then said, come, I put him on one show. Somebody saw him there, now people are inquiring about him to give them the exposure. And that's what we are doing.
Minister, your time is up.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
But I've got 11. Oh, yeah, it's up. No, sorry, it's up.
Thank you, Minister. The final supplementary question on this question number 80 will come from the Honourable Farmer. Honourable Farmer?
That must be a good question.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Honourable Minister of the People. And President of the party that will govern the Western Cape next.
Amen.
I would like to link my question to the funding part of this one. In light of South Africa not being able to field its strongest youth athletes due to poverty. What does the minister and his department is planning to ensure that young kids' circumstances is not a hindrance for South Africa to field its strongest athletes in international competitions?
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, incoming Premier of the Western Cape. Honorable Farmer, it is a problem. You know, I always make the example with my own son, and that is what drives me. My son, the principal came to me when he was 10 years old and said, "Do you know, Mr. Mackenzie, your son is the fastest runner at the age of 10. He breaks records." I'm like, really? When my son was 11, we got him coaches. When he was 12, he was still the fastest. And one day we visited my auntie in Menenberg. And the children started running. And my son, that they say is the best, was outrun by an 11-year-old boy that is younger than him. He outran my son. The only difference between my son and that boy is that boy comes from a poor household with no opportunities. That's why a lot of the talent of South Africa gets lost in translation because of affordability. The best example I'm going to make in this house, and even it's the best example. There's a boy, his mother is struggling. He ran so fast, they took him to Kuro High School. That boy went to the Olympics. He got the silver medal in the Olympics. 4 months ago, I get a call. Minister, the under-20 South African youth delegation is stuck at the airport. They don't have money to go to Peru, and the flight is leaving in 2 hours. There's no money. Because I'm such a good minister, I got going. I phoned SuperSport, I phoned Betway. I managed to raise within 2 hours close to 3 million rand. That boy and girls then flew to Peru. When they got to Peru, Walaza broke the world record. He became the fastest under-20 in the whole world. Same time, the American government then offered him a scholarship. And he said, "I'm not leaving South Africa because I'm here because of the government of South Africa." And he remained in this country. He is now the fastest man on earth, I'm told. The fastest on earth. Because if he financed money, Honorable Farmer, nearly robbed us of that talent. In the Eastern Cape, we saw a young lady. She was throwing what they call the javelin. She threw that thing like the white guy that was with me says, "It's impossible. Nobody can throw that far." So what I'm trying to say is that I hear you. It is our number one priority to make sure that poverty does not stop you from getting opportunity in this government of national unity. We're going to change things, even if some don't like it, but the things are going to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your passion. It's highly appreciated. But now we go to question number 95, asked by Honorable Feni.
Yes.
Question number 95, sure.
Honorable Feni, if you would agree with me, I have partly answered the question to say, are there any programs in place to assist in the careers? But I'll just go a bit further. The Cultural and Creative Industries Development Sub-Program within the arts and culture promotion and development plays a crucial role in expanding market access, fostering inclusivity, and stimulating economic growth in the creative sector and providing opportunities for growth. Over the medium-term expenditure framework period, this sub-program supports initiatives that enhance both local and international markets opportunity. In 2025-26, key investment, including a ring-fence budget to facilitate 34 creative industry projects, ensuring artists and cultural enterprises gain greater exposure and traction. Additionally, 16 cultural and creative industry bodies will receive assistance in forming governing boards, reinforcing sector governance, and programmatic sustainability. Programs that are designed to assist artists in their careers are as follows. The ABC Mutsepe South African School Choral Championship is a mass participation program implemented jointly with the Department of Basic Education and happens annually. SASKE uses the traditional choral music genre as a foundation within the context of the curriculum assessment policy statement. Winners of provincial elimination proceed to represent the provinces at the national championship, which takes place in Gauteng during the winter school holidays in June. Among other things, usually luminaries in choir conducting and traditional choral music composers are contracted, professional voice trainers, we bring all those top people. The second one is artists in school programs. We call it AIS. Through the AIS program, artists assist creative arts teachers to complement and confidently teach the subject. The third one is Young Creatives. The Young Creatives program is the National Youth Service Program, NYSP, of the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. This provides opportunities for out-of-school youth who are actively involved in the cultural and creative industry. The Debit Fund is also another one. The Debit Fund program is a youth entrepreneur development which supports young people who participate in the cultural and creative industries. The CCI Youth Careers Expo, the Provincial Community Arts Centers program, the incubator program. So we have different programs that I've just mentioned that are alive at the moment. Programs that I have found there that the previous ministers has initiated, which I'm also adding the new ones now on the good work done by the previous ministers. So I'm adding my one, so there will be much more to report on the next time I come here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question comes from Honorable Finis, standing in for Mr. Finn.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the response to the question. Honorable Minister, can the department provide information on the priority platforms that are created to assist creatives in the international markets, especially for women and children? And do the creatives have a say on the type of capacity building programs that DSEC does to assist them?
Right. I can tell you the first one we are doing for this year, we are going to take crafters. We are going to take creatives that has never left even the province, but has been plying the trade. We're taking them to Vietnam through the Vietnamese ambassador. We're taking them to Singapore with the help of the Singaporean ambassador, South African ambassador in Singapore, the South African ambassador in Vietnam. We are speaking to the ambassador in France, Ambassador Natim Tetwa, to have an Africa Day. So what we are planning is to have Africa Day in most countries that are part of the G20. So we want to expose the biggest genre of music at the moment is Amapiano. Not in South Africa, throughout the world. Amapiano is taking over. Wherever you go, they play Amapiano. Now, how can we sit on our hands while this thing is exploding? We are now taking all these Amapiano artists that makes music in their rooms. We are taking them to Singapore. We are taking them to Vietnam, to France, to Gabon. We are taking them to different countries so that those artists, like we know international artists in South Africa, we want South African artists to be known internationally because at the moment we must ride the wave. So, Honorable Finis, we have got programs where the touring program, when people are invited in competitions, that we pay for those people to get to where they are going to. We had artists in Russia exactly 2.5 months ago that went on their own steam to Russia to go and perform in Russia. And they were stuck at Dubai airport because the people didn't book, they missed their flight for 5 minutes and they couldn't change the ticket. We then assisted those artists to get to Russia and to get back. There was artists that were stuck in London, from George, I think, yes. So we are very actively involved in promoting South African artists abroad, because abroad, the artists from abroad, they get so much promoted in our country that we must also promote our artists. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question comes from Honorable Gottsel from the Western Cape.
Minister, me again. Those are some great initiatives, Minister, but again, it's interesting that the ANC would ask a question that purports to advocate for the assistance to artists. So in the past 2 parliaments, the ANC-led government has used artists' livelihoods as a political football, in amongst other things, in the Copyright Amendment Bill. So here is the question, and it's either a yes or no if you want. Do you agree that government must urgently address the creative industry's concerns and finalize the bill in a way that truly protects the rights and the livelihoods of artists?
Yes, I do agree that government must finalize the bill, but let me tell you something about the Copyright Amendment Bill. As a writer of books and an owner of publishing houses previously in my life, I understand copyright. Now, in the Copyright Amendment Bill, there's a sentence there that says fair use. Now, that's a problem, because I can't go to McDonald's and buy a burger and say it's fair, I only have half the price. So those are the things we are changing in the Copyright Amendment Bill. And I'm also like you, that used to blame government for everything until I got there. And then I realized, no. Government did make the money available. It is the individuals that have stolen the money. But the intention of government was there. But one day, very far, when you become a minister, you'll understand that. And you'll get access to that. I'm done.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question is coming from Mr. Peter from the Eastern Cape.
Afternoon, Chair of the House. Evening, Honorable Minister. Your face gives so hope to South Africa, including me. Thank you, Minister. UDM acknowledge and appreciate the signing of MOU between your Department of Sport and Arts and Culture and the Basic Education, aimed at fostering talents in sport and in arts in schools, which you, Honorable Minister, has described as a vital first step in unlocking talents and boosting transformation. Now, my question is, what concrete progress has been made in implementing the MOU commitments? And the second one, what specific plans and targeted intervention are to be put in place to ensure that rural areas and underprivileged schools, especially those in Eastern Cape, benefit meaningfully from this agreement? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Honorable. Firstly, I must admit again for the second time that rural areas has been neglected. That one, we can't run away from it. We are, and when I say rural areas, I mean far-flung places. Like in Klaver, for instance, where we're opening a sporting facility this week. It has been neglected. And we are aware of that, and we intend to rectify that. As far as school sports concerned, you know, it is so sad that our children in the private schools, and my kids are in the private schools, they get all the opportunities. But we have failed the children in government schools. If you are talented, you've got a 90% chance of not being recognized. The Minister of Basic Education and myself, we got together. We said, how do we sort this matter out? We then signed first the MOU. Second, we said, let it find expression in our budgets. Because if there's no money budgeted for it, then it's just words. So we have now also bringing back the school sports on a more aggressive manner. But now when we read our budgets, there must be money ring-fence for school sports. And the third part is, you can't play sports without having a field. You can't play sports without having the equipment. You can't play hockey with a branch of a tree. So we need to use the money to get the equipment. We have just gotten a donation from China for table tennis equipment, which we will take to the rural areas that has never benefited, because maybe we'll find a table tennis champion there. I can assure you, Honorable, that school sport is the last and only hope for South Africa to be recognized as a powerhouse of sport and to change people's lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question comes from Honorable Tshwane from the Eastern Cape.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you, Minister. Arts have struggled for years in this country without any assistance from the government. But you've mentioned, Minister, I hear you saying that you've mentioned your intervention. What have you done according to your intervention? My worries, Minister, is that it is very painful when you see talented people, when they die, their families start looking for the donations. It is very painful. All I'm saying is that I would love these interventions that you've mentioned here must bring a hope to our people and a support, not on paper. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable. What we've done, I want to show you clear examples. We have organized them now in a formation that has accountants, that has lawyers. Because people make a song, and that song goes top, and you get the person that made the song does not even have a change of clothes. Stories are untold. On my desk, I would be a failure if that story is not being produced, and I will share it with you. On my desk, I have a story, because what happens, particularly here in the Western Cape, there's a mafia in the Western Cape, in the movie industry. They keep black people out at all costs in the Western Cape. Stories of the Western Cape cannot be told if it's not going through that mafia. International artists are being told you only work with us or you will not get. But I'm going to crush that mafia. Let me show you one story, what we've done. There's so many rich stories that you don't get from the Eastern Cape, from Limpopo, from Mpumalanga, from the Northwest and the Free State. You only get stories from KZN, Western Cape, and Gauteng. Let me tell you what is the reason. The reason is because where they hire the equipment, they can't afford to drive these things to the rural areas. It's too much money, and it's too dangerous sometimes. What we've done now, we have put 30 million aside to buy equipment for rural areas. So rural areas can also make movies without the big cost that big cities are paying. So we have that now ring-fenced at one of our entities, the EFF. A story that's on my desk, I couldn't believe the story has never been told. Somebody in the Eastern Cape has written a true life story about 5 brothers The movie's name is Vulindlela. It's 5 brothers that come from a village, the Vulindlela brothers. All 5 of them were hanged by the apartheid regime. 1 mother, 1 father. The youngest one being 16 years. And they were hanged on one day by the apartheid regime. Their story, your tears will roll down if you read the script of the person that brought the proposal. And I want to mention it here because he said to me, Minister, please don't steal my work. So I'm saying here that he knows it's not my work. It is his work. Those are the rural areas is rich full of stories. We are now making it easy to do business for them because they can't afford to hire these videos, these cameras. It's very expensive. But we are bringing all these things to alleviate poverty. I can't come stand here next year and then others are still at the same position that I found them in. We have to move the needle and we have to move it hard and fast. Thank you, Honorable.
No, thank you, Honorable Minister. The next question is question 75 asked by Honorable Ngo from the KZN. That one on the issue of the abuse.
Right. I must be very honest. Abuse is still rife in sport. Sexual abuse, verbal abuse, and not only abuse, but also women are not being favored when it comes to pay parity, the disparity between what men get and what females get. Men get sometimes 100 times more than what females get in sport. We have spoken to Cricket South Africa. We've told them they have to find a model to change that so that, like in the US soccer team gets the same as the US male team. What we've done was abuse. There is what we call, in our department, all the federations, we have got an organization called The Guardian in the federations to work with federations to establish policies and procedures to keep the girl child safe. But we are now adding another one called Khulikani. Khulikani is the most successful, in my opinion, from fight against GBV. And now we want to bring Khulikani, even in sport. When we meet them, we will have representatives of Khulikani addressing the sporting facilities. We're also going to encourage a new hotline where women that gets abused, they must be able to call that instead of reporting to the seniors in sport. Because sometimes the seniors favors the coach and they're scared to lose the coach. We are now starting a new hotline where they can anonymously phone and say what happened with them. So it's a very serious, it's a national matter in sport and society. But there are several organs of state that are established to prevent and deal with the perpetrators. But in 2 weeks when we meet with the federations, that is top of the agenda. It is still a problem. It is still ongoing. And we can't just fold our arms. So we bring in 2 new initiatives to try to strengthen the fight against GBV. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The first take-up on the follow-up question is Honorable Ngobo. She's on the visual platform.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Minister, what direct psychological, legal, and financial support services are currently funded or coordinated by the Department for victims of abuse in sports, especially for those for poor or rural backgrounds, or especially for those from poor or rural backgrounds who may lack access to justice and care? And what role is the department playing in collaboration with SAPS and the NPA to ensure that cases of abuse in sports are not handled internally or quietly, but are escalated to law enforcement and resolved transparently? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ngobo. What we've seen, there was already projects in place. We are now bringing in another project, which is Khulikani, in sport. We are also bringing in a hotline where victims can report this. We're also going to run campaigns to encourage them to report any wrongdoing. And this is just what we do in the department. But national government is also rolling out different programs. It is a serious matter. It's a matter that we take serious, and it's a matter that we're going to address very strongly with action in the next 2 weeks. Thank you very much, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question comes from Honorable Mukwile from Limpopo.
Ke go leboga, House Chair. Honorable Minister, we check us speak or people of Limpopo ba kgona go nkwa. Honorable Minister, thanks very much. Can your department provide us with the information on cases of abuse of athletes and the current status of cases in different provinces? Thank you.
All right. What we've done, I don't have that information with me at the moment. I'm also not aware what the law says. If you can mention the cases, that is still, I'm a bit unclear about what the law says in that matter. But I can assure you, as an honorable member, I will make sure that this House gets the information through the chair of the cases that are ongoing and the cases that are being investigated. But I don't have that information out of my head. All right. Sub judice.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Of course, if the question is of statistical nature, you cannot have it from your head like that. So you can just provide the answer in the written form.
I will, Honorable Chair.
All right. Thank you. The next follow-up question comes from Honorable Ryder from Gauteng.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson. Minister, Danny Jordan has also had rape and sexual assault charges against him, but his abuse has extended beyond that to mental, financial, and even organizational abuse. He's been abusing football players and spectators and supporters for years. The evidence against him is substantial, and there was even a carte blanche expose. This month, he can't even pay salaries to the workers at SAFA. Minister, when are you going to give him the boot?
The first thing I want to say is that there has not been on my desk a matter of rape against Danny Jordan reported to me as the minister. I don't know of a case that's ongoing, but if there is, I will go find it. If there is really a case that has been made and that is before court for that. I doubt that is before court. But, you know, there's a big problem that people don't understand. The majority of people in South Africa love football. The majority. Now, FIFA is very clear. They don't want government interference in the matters of football. I can tell you multiple countries that has been expelled. Now, imagine I'm the one interfering. Then football gets expelled in South Africa. But what I do believe in, I believe in our justice system. Banana Republic. He is before court today. We have written a letter to the president of FIFA and to Minister Danny Jordan, wanting guidance on what to do. But you are right when you say they couldn't pay salaries December. And I heard that countries want to take the best coach we've ever had, Hugo Bruce, because he's also not been paid his salary. The players has not been paid his salary. The women's football team has not been paid his salary. I, as the minister, then intervened. I advanced them 5 million, which they were supposed to get in April this year. I advanced that money to them in December to make sure we don't lose this good coach. The players of Bafana Bafana, and it's a national asset, but FIFA's got other rules. Hence, we've taken it upon ourselves to write to FIFA, to write to Danny Jordan, because we have to go through him to get to FIFA. And we say, we would like to have a meeting. I can tell you what our meeting is going to bring forth. We are going to ask FIFA, these are the allegations. This person is before court. What would you want us to do as government? That I don't want to overplay my power and to get us expelled tomorrow. And please, lastly, don't forget to watch Bafana Bafana tonight. playing. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question comes from Honorable Mpungose from Gauteng. She's on the visual platform. Honorable Mpungose. Honorable Makesini, the whip. Because we're going to have a problem, we're going to pass. This is the last question in the set. Oh, she's not.
Has chair because she was supposed to be on virtual.
Where is she? They just check she's not on the platform. If there's anyone from the EFF who want to take the slot, I'm going to count
Yes,
to 3.
Chair. Is that the question of Honorable Chairperson?
Thank you, Honorable Aris. You can take off.
Okay, which question is that, Chairperson? I've missed it now.
No, you can ask the question, Honorable Aris.
Come again, Chairperson. I can't hear you, Chair.
Honorable Aris, you can
Yes, I can hear you,
replace
Chair, now.
Honorable Mpungose.
Which question is that, Chairperson?
No.
All right, thank you, Honorable Ellis. And then what we'll do, we did give EFF a chance, a fair chance for that matter, but we cannot stay on this question forever. Honorable Minister of Sports, the next question is coming from Honorable Sibande from Mpumalanga, question number 96.
Chairperson?
Why in the next
Chairperson, can
question
you hear
now?
me?
No, why in the next
Yes.
question? Honorable Minister. Honorable Aris, you are already in the next question. You cannot go back now. Honorable Minister, will
But
you please
Chairperson,
answer question number
I was
95?
having network problems, Chairperson.
Honorable Aris, will you please sit down? We are in the next question now. We gave you more than
Okay.
enough time.
Just be reasonable. It was just the
Alright.
network. I'm not in
Honorable
control of
Minister,
the
will you please
network.
answer question number 95?
What? Honorable 96. Yes. The Department of Sport, Arts and Culture rolls out programs aimed at promoting, developing, and using all official languages through the National Language Service Unit. To promote languages, the department has the following projects. The Language Bursary Project that assists students who are studying language through partnerships with the following 9 universities. University of KwaZulu-Natal, Durban University of Technology, Nelson Mandela University, University of the Western Cape, University of Stellenbosch, University of the Witwatersrand, Tshwane University of Technology, University of the Free State, and University of Venda. National Language Stakeholder Engagement Forum, NLSEF. This brings together all 3 spheres of government to report on the implementation of language policies and pertinent issues that need attention and intervention in the language sector. The department celebrates and observes initiatives that are meant to promote all official languages and indigenous languages. African Language Week is 21 to 28 February, including International Mother Language Day, 21 February, to create awareness and promote multilingualism. International Translation Day, 30 September, draws attention to the importance of the work of translators, terminologists, interpreters, and language practitioners. The department has the following programs to develop all official languages. Terminology coordination, coordinate the development of terminology in all official languages in various fields, working with collaborators and experts in those fields. Human language technology, support the development of digital application tools to create greater access to information. Translating and editing, the translation and editing of official documents using all official languages. The department uses all official languages in a manner that equates equal status through the translation and editing of official documents. This contributes to multilingualism by facilitating government services, information, and programs that can be accessed in citizens' spoken languages of choice. Mine is Afrikaans.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question will come from Honorable Kaunda, standing in for Honorable Sibande.
Thank you, House Chair. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your adequate response. It is also encouraging to observe that the department is encouraging and celebrates the initiatives that are meant to promote different languages, official languages. What action has the department taken against those who disregard the implementation of correct language policies and suppress the use of the growth of other languages? And what is the role of the Pan South African Language Board in the development of the official languages? Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much. We've had a long-standing feud between me and the Portfolio Committee when it comes to constituting the PenSAP board, because I felt that there were doctors, there were people majoring in Afrikaans that was excluded from that board. Subsequently, I realized that it's out of my hands, but I fought that fight simply because I believe that all languages should be afforded equal treatment and equal respect. We have not taken action against anyone that disregard language, and it's against the promotion of language. It is something I'll have to look in to see do we have that mandate. But I can assure you, Honorable Kaunda, that language is very important, particularly that people should be taught in their mother tongue, the language they're most comfortable in. I believe that we've made great strides in that. We want all languages to, including languages that are not called business languages, because that's usually the excuse they are using. But no action has been taken by us. We will look into it, but I can assure you, Honorable Kaunda, that we take it very serious, that languages should be recognized, all different languages. We can't be talking about Mandarin and other languages while the homegrown languages still needs attention. I hear many people say we must have Mandarin, we must have... No, we'll get to those things. Let us first finish here at home our languages before we go and try the language of other countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question is coming from Honorable Brett from the Free State.
Dankie, agbare huisvoorsitter. Dankie, agbare minister. Ek het 'n vraag gehad, maar ek gaan in die lig van wat jy gesê het, gaan ek dit verander. En my vraag is dat u sal weet, ons het in elke provinsie is daar elke wetgewer het die geleentheid gegee om te kies wat sy amptelike tale in daardie provinsie is. Ek weet byvoorbeeld in die Wes-Kaap het die wetgewer besluit dat hulle nie byvoorbeeld Afrikaans as een van hulle tale waarin dokumente versprei sal word, sal belangrik ag nie en dat hulle net vir Engels het. Wat gaan u as minister van Sport, Kuns en Kultuur doen waar dit so belangrik is om al ons tale in Suid-Afrika vir al ons 12 amptelike tale te bevoordeel? Hoe gaan jy seker maak dat ons wetgewers en ons provinsies daarby gehoor gee en dat ons nie op die ou einde van die dag nie 'n reënboognasie is nie, maar net shades of grey en net Engels is? Baie dankie.
Baie dankie. Dit is nou net iets geraak wat my baie ontstig en ontstel. Die Weskaap het besluit, hulle gaan nie Afrikaans as een van die tale insit, wat mense mee kan kommunikeer as dit kom by dokumentasie van die regering. Maar dieselfde mense in die Weskaap hardloop nasionaal toe en hulle sê Afrikaans word onderdruk. Maar die onderdrukking van Afrikaans is hier in die Weskaap. Dit is gevestig. Chair, can I just talk?
Honorable Badenhorst, please, don't disrupt the minister.
Honorable Badenhorst, on the level that's much higher than you, the people are complaining about languages.
Praat hy ding, minister.
Ek was by die Ek was by Freedom Park saam met u leier waar hy gekla het saam met my omdat Afrikaans nie kop toegevat word nie. U was nie daar nie. So as hy nie vir u gesê het nie, nou sê ek vandag vir u. Afrikaans. So die mense, hulle kla oor iets met die linkerhand, dan doen hulle dit met die regterhand. Ek stem volkome saam dat alle tale, ek is baie veeltalig. Kibwa Sotho, Kibwa Pedi, Kibwa Zulu, Kibwa Xhosa, Kazama. But what I'm trying to say is that, you know, there's nothing as disrespectful as not allowing a person to speak and communicate and learn in their own language. It is a great injustice. It is things that has been done by colonizers. They'll give you another name because your name is too difficult to pronounce. It's on the same lines. So ek kan vir u verseker dat alle tale sal 'n regmatige plek inneem in hierdie land van ons. Alle tale. En hulle sal regmatig behandel word. Hulle sal met liefde en die nodige respek behandel word of meneer Badenhorst dit like of nie like nie. Dit wys my was deel van die wat Afrikaans onderdruk het. Hier in die Weskaap. Baie dankie, voorsitter.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question from Honorable Keza.
Thank you very much, Minister. When we have time, I'm going to tell the sad tales of artists that had the skill, like Victor Ntoni, who was an institution on his own and studied in Berkeley School of Music. And he was nowhere to be found. His skill did not match his resources. And there are many artists currently, like Happy Tswaeli, who have a lot of skill, but they do not have that. But nevertheless, that's an issue for another day, Minister. Let me deal with the question at hand today, the question of language. Minister, during apartheid, Afrikaans was institutionalized as an official language, using it as a tool for control and segregation, which led to the imposition of Afrikaans as a language of instruction in black schools, sparking the Soweto uprising. In front of me, I have a medicine, a multivitamin. It's written, "Sket goed voor gebrek."
Is it what, sorry, sir?
That's what it
Sorry,
says.
Orva?
Sket goed voor gebrek. Hoe beter bereik van kinders. That shows the level of institutionalization. Today, there's also prevalence of this imposition in Mtombeni Primary School in Hluzi Township, Mpumalanga, due to the inherited hegemony of the Afrikaans as a language. In light of this, what is the extent of work that your department has done in collaboration with the Department of Basic Education in ensuring the same hegemony for indigenous languages while filtering in other marginalized indigenous languages such as Silobidu, isiPaca, isiMpondo as official languages in South Africa? Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you very much. Let me start with the most important one because you have the medicine in front of you. We don't want you to incorporate. They say you must shake it properly before you use it. Thank you, Honorable. I think, you know, with the PENSA board, the funding we give them is particularly to make sure that language got proper representation in all languages, including isiPhondo. All languages are important. It might not be important for me because I don't speak that language, or for you because you don't speak a language. But I want to come to a more deep point that you've raised. 1976, they forced children to be taught in Afrikaans. That led to the June 16 riots. It was wrong. It was inhumane to force people to write matric or any exam paper in a language that is not theirs. As it was wrong in 1976, it is still wrong today to force colored kids to speak in a language that's not theirs. The wrong has not changed. It's the same thing. It's just a different era. Afrikaans is not a language of the oppressors. I wrote my matric paper in Afrikaans, and everybody else that grew up with me speaks Afrikaans. Afrikaans is not, Afrikaans is also not, as this man says next to me, this honorable, their language. They've also taken this language like many other things. Afrikaans is a language of many. And a lot of kids drop out of school because they are being forced to speak a language that's not theirs. Particularly the community where I'm from. Do you know that the colored community has got honorable? They have the record of children that start school and not finish school. They have the record of children school-going age that's supposed to be in school but are not in school. We have the lowest amount of children enrolling into universities in this country. We have the highest amount of people suffering from alcohol-fetal syndrome. And I can tell you language is at the heart of that because they know they're not going to succeed. They've never spoken English at their household. All of a sudden, they must come and write an exam. So I'm saying, as it was wrong in 1976, it is wrong today. Any child should be taught in a language. People that has never traveled, they still think English is a sign of intelligence. You have, we are just with the deputy president, we've just returned from Japan. We met the bosses of Toyota, Isuzu, Hitachi, and few of them know English. Few, probably 1 out of 7 people we met could converse in English. They spoke their home language, and nobody thought they are dumb. But if I come here and I speak broken English, I see one of my favorite politicians, what's his name? Papa Penny. I love that man, because he's so proud. When he speaks English, he doesn't care if he breaks it or he bends it. He makes his point.
That's why your time gets expired.
Yes, thank you.
It's broken now. All right. Honorable members, the next follow-up question is coming from Honorable Duplessis from Gauteng.
Thank you very much, House Chair. Baie dankie, edelagbare. En ek hoop jy het jouself sturdy gehou in Cuba nie. I just want to find out from you, you haven't explicitly mentioned access to languages for people with disabilities. It is something that needs to be explicitly mentioned. If it's not explicitly mentioned, we do tend to forget these very important languages like sign language and Braille. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. I can't argue what you said. I've not explicitly mentioned it. I have made business cards, and my chief of staff then took them back because it was not in Braille. And she made me business cards that anybody can read and understand. My not mentioning it here is in no way an indication of how we take it. It is important. I can tell you numerous funds when we went through the budget last week that is earmarked for that. In fact, we are building, we're giving, I'm speaking under correction, another 50 million for the library for the blind and deaf to enhance that library. And I hear the Honorable next to me keep on talking about Cuba, and you've also mentioned Cuba. Honorable, don't believe everything you read. I've not been to Cuba. I've been here. The newspapers say I went on a joyride. I've never been to Cuba in my life. I intend to go to Cuba. I was not part of that Cuban trip that they said I went on a joyride. But that's the media. And this one, Honorable here next to me, he laps everything up except the mistakes of the there. So I've not been to Cuba, Honorable. It's a lie that the media is telling people. I've not been there. I wasn't part of that, and there was no money wasted. Because why is the problem when artists and writers are going to Cuba to a book festival, but here, your premier has gone to New York with your mayors? We don't even know what they did there, but nobody says it's a problem. We are asking how much the trip cost. Till today, we don't know how much the trip cost. I tell you how much the trip cost to Cuba. Why can't you tell us how much the trip of your premier, Ellen Wendy, and his cabal he went with? How much did it cost? Yeah.
Honorable Kosel, don't disrupt the minister, please. You can continue, Minister.
Oh, thank you, Chair. So when we are being asked, why do you want to act like, this thing is really very bad? Chairperson, we go to meet the people of the F1, for instance. We say we are ready to host the Olympics, to host the F1. We're meeting the Olympics committee. We say we are ready to host that. Then, while we are there, you see in the newspapers, South Africa doesn't have money for a flight. Now these people ask us there, how are you going to host this thing if people are complaining about the ticket? But when they fly, in the Western Cape, they've been flying undisturbed. Nobody disturbing, they're flying up and down. But the moment black people, you think we're starting to fly planes with you think I'm starting to fly planes with becoming a minister? You talk about economy class. I'm starting to fly business class since I'm a minister. I flew first class before I was a minister. Go and check the records. So don't act like we black people, we don't know these things. We on joyride. We're going to work like you go to work. Your skin doesn't make you work harder than us. Yeah. One last sentence I want to tell him, with your permission. The problem that you are having, when you look at the black person, you see corruption. Like we are going there on holiday. My son asked me, how's Japan? I said, I don't know, I haven't even seen Japan. Because I was in meetings. I'm so tired of this thing. Every time a black person fly, it's a joyride. What are you doing? Must I take with a craver? Must I go with a wheelbarrow to London? Come on. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable delegates, I would really like to thank the Minister and the MECs and all the permanent delegates and special delegates and Salga for availing themselves for this sitting. Honorable delegates, that concludes the business of the day. The House is adjourned.
Can I just give you the right information here? He just said something. I will rectify him. He said